Palmer, real quick, who you voting for in November?
It's Donald Trump all the way from Canada.
Thank you, brother.
Let's go to Mr. Cummings, and then we're going to go to Apollonia and then Righteous. Go ahead.
The person by the name of Mr. Cummings, Cumming. This person, listen very closely. This is one of the persons that I wanted to make sure I put on blast of how these persons in this room that I personally had a chance to listen to before I showed myself to the exit. This is what these persons are proud of the fact that they know how to talk to their people in their community. They are no different than the KKK. Well, no, let me correct myself. They can't be compared to the KKK, but they can certainly be compared to someone who have the intentions to play a person for a fool, to take advantage of them. So as you listen, I want you to make your own critical evaluation. Or do any of these persons, does this person you're getting ready to listen to in the next few minutes, do they, what they're saying fit the guidelines of someone who is purposely taking action to take advantage of another person or several persons? You make that critical evaluation, please. And if you don't mind, leave a comment, because these persons are running around here and will be running around here between now and November the 5th. They are running around opening social media spaces, audio spaces, to convince persons who don't normally participate in the voting process to get involved, only because they are using their tactics to convince them that it's worth them doing it. When I will continue to ask the simple question, do any of these persons have Bank of America or JP Morgan or Chase Bank or Wells Fargo type of money in their bank? Do they have the type of money that most of these big corporations, Johnson & Johnson, Kraft, BlackRock? Just ask these persons whenever they're talking to you, if you get a chance to ask them a question, please do yourself fairly. Each person who listened to this audio, I'm not asking you to believe what's coming out of my mouth. I just want you to simply ask yourself the honest question. Do you personally know anyone who have the kind of money that Bank of America, JP Morgan, Chase Bank, Wells Fargo, or what's the other one? Wells Fargo and Chase Bank and JP Morgan and Bank of America. I know I'm leaving out of one of those big banks. And the other question you need to ask them is, do you have the kind of money that some of the big corporations like Johnson & Johnson and Kraft Cheese and so many other name brand big corporations? Just ask them the honest question. Then if you answer that question no, then you should not be going into that arena with your hands tied behind your back until you get yourself in a better position, like knowing your numbers and building up your economic strength. And you do that by owning land and owning businesses that can make the politicians pay attention to you because they want your donations. if you don't have that ability to know your numbers and own land equity, or have established enough businesses in your community as a collective to cause the politicians to pay you any attention, then you are invisible to them. So here we go.
Okay.
Hello again, to my niggas here. So, listening along, I can't help but notice that everybody here seems very well educated, very well spoken, and I just have to acknowledge that doesn't really speak to the niggas, because we have to be able to resonate with.
And this person considers himself educated, but these educated persons who think they are so educated don't hesitate to refer to other persons as niggers. See, you know you are damaged, that your oppressor, your enemy has damaged you mentally when you take great pride in using the very words they use to attack you with, like nigger. That's how mentally damaged this person who is an educator. He's a teacher. You're going to hear him later on, maybe. This is the one who I learned in that short time I was in that space, that he recently got hired as a teacher. And now he's on a public app feeling emboldened to reference other persons as being uneducated and a nigger. So he feels that he is above them, so that it's okay for him to reference those persons as niggers to him. They're not human beings. They just a nigger. You see how sick these people are? That's why when I was in that room that night, I knew I was going to have to stop in my tracks and record their voice in their own words, and let each person that have a chance to listen to it to make their own critical evaluation. We have individuals who are so mentally sick or evil or dishonest that they don't care about coming on a public app and announcing it. They're so bold about it that they don't even understand that maybe, just maybe, there will be several persons in the audience making critical evaluation of who they're listening to, and how this person is not ashamed to admit that they can play another person to get their personal self-interest satisfied. So here we go with listening to this so-called educated man calling other persons who are non-educated a nigger.
People that don't walk the same life as we do right now, will I call a black person that chooses to not educate themselves dumb? No, you're not dumb. You just choose to not educate yourself further than the public school system. But how can we, because it's my point is increasing the black voter base, no matter what side you're on. So a lot of us is niggas, you know what I mean? So you know what I mean, what's up with it? You feel me? So how are we going to put this message in a way that can get more of the niggas, more of the people that, you know, play their music up loud, 21 Savage, sliding, looking for the op, you see what I'm saying? How can we get those people, the people that probably aren't in this space right now because they watching some twerking Sexy Red video? How can we, other than the no voting, no lucking shit that happened, that was absolutely awful. How can we better, and I'll pose this question to y'all, how can we better?
You see how easily he was able to identify that it was offer for the Sexy Red or whoever, that song that was made, no FUCK, no vote. but he do not have the ability to identify his own flaws. He's quickly to paint a paintbrush that those persons who listen to that type of music, those persons who I think he said let their pants lag or be talking all loud or whatever. I can't remember the exact words now, but you understand. You have ears. Each one of you persons who will listen to this audio, that person who you're listening to, by the name of Mr. Cummings, is talking down about other persons who he want desperately to get to trick them into wanting to vote, but at the same time, in the same breath, he lets you know what level of respect he have for those persons that he want to encourage to get more melanated persons and Negroes to vote, but he don't really have respect for them. He just need them to get involved so that I don't know what his personal satisfaction will be, because again, Mr. Cummings know that he do not have Bank of America kind of money and JP Morgan type of money, Chase Bank type of money, Wells Fargo. Mr. Cummings know this because he seems to be an intelligent person, and he seems to be a person who has followed politics for a good period of time, and he clearly should have this information. Even if you just barely follow politics, you know that politics in America is corrupt with money. It's corrupt with money. And those persons who are running around here convincing other persons to put their trust in a corrupt system, to a certain extent, each one of those persons are corrupt too. They may not be able to orchestrate the corruption at the level of those persons who are wealthy and who have connections and power and control, but they still are complacent. They are complicit to the corruption. They certainly are complicit to the corruption. Just on a smaller scale, because they take great pride in persuading persons who do not want or think about taking part in voting to vote. And most of these persons are only doing that for their own self-interest. They're not doing it for human rights, self-respect, and a human being having a fair opportunity to be a productive human being and have a decent life. I never hear that coming out of any of these persons' mouth who campaign for someone to vote. They never name off any of the three reasons that I have just stated, that they are doing it for human rights, self-respect of that individual human being and themselves, and for the right for that individual person to have a productive life and be able to provide for their basic needs and maybe some extra. Those words and description do not come out of these persons' mouth who campaign for another person to vote and to take part in this corrupt system. They never explain or say that is their motivation reason for why they want to encourage another person to vote. No, because most of these persons are either getting paid money by these camps, the RNC and the DNC. They're getting paid money to go around and convince enough persons to take part in voting. That's all they need to do. Just get the person to vote that one voting day. That's all they need to do. And they're going to get paid good money from either the RNC or the DNC. If they're not getting that, they know they're more than likely are going to get a cushy job from one of these camps somewhere down the road if they have not already been given a job, or they are dishonest persons, or they have a self-agenda and self-interest. So as you can listen, as I stated these reasons, there are different variables as to why anyone in America who has been taking part in voting for, I would say, maybe 10 years at least, do not already know that the voting system in America, political system, is corrupt. Your head would have to be buried under a rock for you not to have been able to do critical thinking and evaluation to come to that conclusion. That's the only way I can think of that you would not come to that conclusion, that the political system in America is corrupted. But here, I'm going to start the audio up again so you can finish listening to this man make his case for how he's going to manipulate other persons to go vote.
Get the niggas on board.
So that's a good question, and thank you for asking that. One, we got our homie out of New York, Mr. Derek Gibson, doing niggas for Trump. So this his whole platform is to reach that, I don't want to call them niggas, but that...
They call themselves niggas, so it shouldn't really be an issue.
Right, because they niggas for Trump. All right, so that's who they are going to get, number one. Number two, just because I'm in this room speaking very articulately does not mean that I don't know how to communicate with my people. I'm a Chicago girl to the bone, baby. My mama and daddy met in the seventh grade in 1969 in the Chicago public schools. They graduated from college, and they said the white man water not wetter, the white man ice not colder. We moving back to our hood. So I grew up in the hood with both my grandmas, all my aunties, uncles, cousins, grandma, sister, kids, you name it. I know how to talk to my people. However, in this space, I am, using my P-Ray voice and not my Ray voice. When Ray is out here, out west, talking to the people, I know how to get down. I know how to talk to them. You know what I tell the guys up here at the gas station? I tell them, hey, Joe, check it out. First off, you can't hustle in front of your granny old house. The Mexicans live here. You can't stand on their property. And guess what? You see all these Venezuelans that they bringing up here? They bringing in their own workforce. So all y'all niggas gonna be out of the job. Ain't gonna be no more drug selling for y'all on the west side come 5, 6, 10 years. So then what you gonna do, baby? Because you can't go to the factory. They gonna be in the factories too. You can't go to McDonald's because they in McDonald's too. So you better vote for Donald Trump or learn Spanish, my man. When they say what? I say vote Trump or learn Spanish. Which one you ready to do? They can understand that very well. And we don't even have to get into a deep policy conversation because we're meeting them where they are. So that's why I want to let you know. It's not that, we're a bunch of snooty, educated people. No. We know how to talk to our folks.
All right. You know what I'm saying? On the same tip of what she's saying, like, you look at my profile picture right there. That was homecoming. Again, I mentioned earlier where I'm went to 2 HBCUs, Albany State, Savannah State University. I'm a HBCU DJ. I'm a black DJ. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what I do.
Now, this is a new person by the name of Deshaun. And he has Deshaun - Miss Lisa nephew. His name is Deshaun - Miss MS Lisa nephew. So I guess he's the nephew of the person by the name of Lisa. So he is stating that he is a DJ, and what kind of maneuvers or tactics he used to convince other persons to vote that don't want or have the care to participate in this corrupt system, but they have already decided to orchestrate a strategy to manipulate that person beforehand. Before interacting with them, they have already have planned out a strategy of how they're going to approach them, how they're going to talk to them, and try to relate to them in their, what is it? How do I put it? To relate to that person from the perspective of how they see that person they're talking to. That person who they're talking to, they have already concluded that person is beneath them. Yes, that is what they have decided. That person, depending on what environment they are going to, if they're going to the environment that these persons see these individuals as hood rats, ray-rays, and ray-rays. I don't know what ray-ray means, but it must be something down, looking down on another person, because I hear folks saying it quite often. So it must mean something ray-ray, something talking down on a person, because they mention it quite often. Maybe you folks who listen to this audio is more familiar with it than I am, but this person clearly is getting ready to explain to you what tactics he personally used to manipulate persons that he interact with to convince them to vote.
I'm in the club. There's videos of me being in the club, doing things like I'm out here unapologetically me, but I'm still in these other rooms because I'm a businessman. I'm about my business, man. I'm not going to let them say or pigeonhole me because, oh, he got locks. Oh, he's a hip hop DJ. Oh, he went to HBCU. Oh, he went to this black high school. Oh, he's from the west side of Savannah. Like, nah, bruh. I can speak to you intelligently and we can fluidly handle this conversation as we need to as men and women that are doing the best for our communities. Or I can get down dirty with you, my nigga, and we can really talk to dozens and find out what the fuck we really finna make happen. Like, it doesn't matter to me. We can do either. And we go to our folk and we just let them know the business. Look, bro, I understand. You don't know this scene. You don't know nothing about politics. You ain't studying no white man. I said it earlier. Joe got a go tour this weekend. I had some folk tell my people, yo, I'm not listening to some white man tell me not to vote for another white man. And lo and behold, there was a bunch of black folk over there, you know what I'm saying, telling them what the business was. But because they seen the Republicans that I brought from my party, my executive board, hey, they say y'all don't come in the hood. You bringing your ass in the hood, and you finna stand in front of this stove, and you finna wave at all the cars that pass by while y'all are in between these young black kids who is waving, you know what I'm saying, these Joe Gotta Go flags, because that's what they enjoy doing from city to city, you know what I'm saying? We gotta be that intermediary. We gotta be that conversationalist for ourselves. Fuck anybody else coming in there and having the conversation unless we bring them in there to have the conversation and they speak when we say speak, and when we say shut up, you shut up and let us talk to our people, because it's going to go over most of their head because they don't understand politics, but we have to break it to them so that they can understand it. So not only will it works for the federal elections, but this shit gotta work locally. Like, locally is gonna forever be fucked until they understand what it is. So that's where me and the P. Rays and the La Farmers and the Mark Carters and the Sexy Raws and the Revs, that's where all us come into play to actually speak and handle it for the people so they can take it how they need to take it. I'm back on the runway.
And also, brother, comment, you can't be.
Okay, folks, I hope you heard this person loud and clear. They know how to talk to their people in their language. But I want you to ask yourself the question as you listen to these persons speaking in their own voice. Is that manipulation, or is that somebody who is operating on genuine caring about that other human being they're interacting with? Because if they cared about that other human being, they would tell that human being while they're engaging in that conversation with them that they do not have the kind of money that Bank of America have, that JP Morgan have, that Chase Bank and Wells Fargo. But that's not part of the conversation. The only part of the conversation that they care about is how can they convince that other person to put their trust in what they're saying out their mouth, because they let the white folks know you just stay over to the side and keep your mouth closed until we give you the signal it's time for you to talk. Because we are the pros and experts at talking to our own people. We know how to talk their language and sway them to trust what we are saying to them. They're doing the enemy's work, all under the disguise that they're doing something good for their community. Is clear dishonesty. It's clear dishonesty. And I pray to God that enough persons will have a chance to listen to this audio and apply their own critical evaluation. Don't take my word. Don't accept my perspective. I want each person to use their own critical thinking, their own perspective, and come to their own conclusion. But our community has been taken advantage of for far too long. The Negro and the melanated community has been taken advantage of far too long and played for a fool. So now those persons who have big money and positions, they handpick certain persons to do their dirty work for them. That's my critical evaluation, that these persons are serving as handpicked stool pigeons to go out and do the dirty work that these white people could never accomplish on their own. But that's not anything new. From the time of slavery, that is what was done to manipulate and to harm and to murder our ancestors. And here we are in the 21st century, and it's still being played out day by day, year after year, decade after decade. So I'm going to let you finish listening to the audio, and I will be uploading this to StreamYard and putting it on blast on TikTok, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Minds.com, and any other platform that I can think of, because I do not appreciate folks that feel they have the liberty to take advantage of another human being. Thank you. Here we go.
Free to have the conversation, right? And that's why so many times I think in this space, and I do want to second what P. Ray said, that you asked a beautiful question. You can't be afraid to talk to the youngins. Like, you gotta remember, like, I let them, like, to be honest, I mean, I don't know. I was always, you know, I mean, that was the house that the folks came over, spent the night at. My mom played cards with their mamas. We had the card games at the cookouts. We got the two coolers. You know, if it ain't me or one of my homies, Hakeem trying to sneak a drink, and we all go in the back and share a Budweiser or cooler. This is how we grew up. So I don't feel no different than a lot of the youth. When I go back and talk to them, especially when I go and talk to them, I've been blessed in my life. My coach is still at the same high school I went to. The security guard, Big Don, still at the same high school I went to. So it ain't foreign. I don't feel uncomfortable talking to them. And I bring up the fact that I come from the Democrat, all family niggas is voting Democrat because Democrat mean black. And I bring up to them when I was in the 6th grade on the school bus, hearing one of the black folks who was after on the sports bus when we was driving home, and he was like, "My family and I, we vote Republican," and we were laughing at him like, "Are you white? That's for white people." I remember, and I tell them that, and they start laughing. I let them know, like, "Hey, man."
The person you're listening to is by the name of a farmer. Now, I have spent a quite amount of time around this person, and in the Negro space. We called it the Negro Twitter space. And this brother is a professional athlete at one time in his life. And as you can listen to him, he seems to be speaking from a genuine perspective. But I still have the question for each of these persons. And this person, La Farmer, is living in Canada, so he will not be able to vote in America. But why in God's name would a person who lives in Canada would be wanting to encourage Negroes and melanated persons to take part in their own demise? I don't know. Each of these persons have to look in the mirror and look into their soul, and if they have a soul, and ask themselves, why are they being dishonest with another human being who have their skin color and who have suffered similar things in life, that they will have a clear conscience to convince them to take part and manipulate them. I don't know why they are doing that, but that is why I am making this recording, because I want persons to understand what manipulation is being done that is going to continue to inflict harm to their day-to-day life. Because I will repeat over and over again, each of these persons in this room, this Twitter room that I was in, no, they do not have Bank of America type of money. They know clearly they do not have JP Morgan type of money. They know clearly they do not have Wells Fargo type of money, or Chase Bank type of money, or Johnson & Johnson type of money, or Kraft type of money, but they are going to go to their people, what they call their people, and convince them to take part in a corrupt government, a corrupt voting process, a corrupt political system, and then they're going to lay down and sleep like a baby. I'm going to let you finish listening to La Farmer.
Like Mike Tyson, they be like, yeah. I'll be like, man, did you know that when Mike Tyson had his thing with Robin Givens, the first person giving him a job, an opportunity to fight, because nobody else would, was Donald Trump, and gave him and let him fight inside of his Trump Tower. That was the first fight he had when he got out of jail. It was like, oh shit, I didn't know that. I'd be like, yeah, man. Also, you like Lil Jon and the East Side Boys? You think they some real hood niggas? Like, yeah, boy, them boys wild. Get crunk niggas. This shit, music you can't even listen to in the club because we just get the.
Oh, I'm going to stop at this point and mention these persons are campaigning for Trump, Donald Trump. Now, when you was growing up, do you let your enemy or your opposition know what your plans are in advance? Each of these persons in this room, Twitter room, is letting it be known that they are overjoyed to vote for Trump because they believe he will take care of the immigration problem, the invaders who are invading America. But what they're not telling you is that Trump wants to give immunity to every police officer. And we all know, well, most of us know how the policemen treat Negroes and melanated brown-skinned human beings in America. They do not see them as a human being, but each of these persons are willing to pretend that's not the case and just still go out and encourage other persons to vote for this man, all because they believe that he may decide to pass reparations. He may deport some of the immigrants who have invaded America. They don't have anything guaranteed. But just to say that what they assuming come true, Trump can deport half of the immigrants, but the Negro and the melanated person will still have to deal with that racist person sitting behind a desk when they go get a job, go apply for a job, when they go apply for a loan, when they go apply for an apartment or mortgage, or walking around in their day-to-day life, they still going to have to deal with that racist policeman. Trump cannot be everywhere to make sure that Negroes and melanated persons do not face mistreatment because of racism. So I don't understand why they will be encouraging anyone to go vote for Trump or the Democrats. They both are evil, and they both clearly know that Negroes and melanated persons have been mistreated unfairly for over 400 years. It's no secret. It's no secret. So why are these persons not sending a clear message to the Republicans and the Democrats that you will not get my vote if you do not give me reparations, cash payments, and land, and Special Field Order 15. Those are three demands. If you do not deliver Special Field Order 15, if you cannot deliver that in writing, then the comparative thing to the Special Field Order 15 is 40 acres and a meal for every descendant. And that has to be combined with cash payments. But they're not saying that in this room. All they care about is convincing other persons in their community to go out and vote for Trump. Trump is going to pad the courts with his coonies who have racism to the core. He's going to give the policemen immunity. So anytime they wrongfully kill another Negro or melanated person, they are not going to face any charges. But these persons' conscience is clear. They have a clean conscience that they know that this man is going to do this, but they still have a clear conscience to go out and convince their community to vote for this man, when they could simply do the best thing possible and tell their persons in their community not to vote unless we are able to force the Republicans and the Democrats to give us Special Field Order 15. If they cannot re-implement Special Field Order 15, then they have to give land, 40 acres of land, to each Negro descendant, to include cash payments with that. Those two simple demands should be made to the Republicans and the Democrats, and if they do not deliver that before the election, they should be making it clear to the Republicans and the Democrats. We have already had conversations with our community, and we are all on the same page that we will stay home. But they're not doing that. No, they prefer to do the enemy's dirty work. That is the choice they have decided, to do the enemy's dirty work instead of sending a clear threat to their enemy and opposition that you would not play myself or my community for a fool without giving up something, meeting two of our demands the same way you have delivered to the Asians and the Latinos and Mexicans and the LGBTQ and the Native Americans. It's the same way you would deliver two of the demands that I have made, or you will not get a vote. It's just that simple. So I'm gonna let you finish before this audio get to the end of this 1 hour mark.
And then it turned us up into warrior mode. It was like, yeah, man, I definitely like Lil Jon. And I'll be like, yeah, man, you know Donald Trump in a video with Lil Jon and the East Side Boys. He's like, what? I was like, yeah, man, go ahead and look that shit up. Donald Trump in a video with Lil Jon and the East Side Boys, chopping it with him and everything. You know, a video that Joe Biden in the community with our folks is little niggas from the hood. And it's like, nah. I'll be like, yeah, you can go and find a video with Joe Biden with our people talking about his crime bill and locking us up. Do you know Joe Biden said that we like dogs and you can lock us up and you can even kill us and it don't matter how you feel about us, because as long as we're not there, we're not raping his wife, marauding his son as they walk up and down the street. Did you know Joe Biden said that? And they'd be like, no, hell no. I said, would you even think about voting for somebody talking about us like that? I said, it was like, hell no, man, fuck that. And then I tell them about my cousin who I know, a couple of my cousins in my family, one more even recently, that's literally locked up on a 3 strikes bill up in Jersey. A couple of them already was locked up. My great grandma house had to get liens and shit on it. We always paid our bills, but when cuz didn't show up for court, the government put the lien out on it because it was the bond he was missing. So we literally could talk to him like that, and a lot of them can relate. So you're not really going to lose touch talking about Trump to them. It ain't a white conversation, because at no point in that conversation when I talked about Trump to my people did I mention white people. So when you keep it about our people and understand what Trump done back in the days before he got into politics with our people, what level of our people that our people can and may resonate with, it's not a hard quote pitch, if that's what you want to call it, because at a lot of times all these politicians is kicking the pitch, right? It's just whatever one that we find resonates more closer to us. I think you'll find a better receptive if you spoke to the youth in that manner with those talking points, because you can literally go on your phone and Google it and they'll see it in real time as opposed to thinking or believing you. Just to help you out, Mr. Cole.
So what they're telling you is that make sure you highlight the good points or good things that they want to mention about this person, but don't mention any of the negative drawbacks about that person. But just make sure you focus on highlighting the good points that you can quickly look up on Google, but they don't tell you to look up the fact that Trump wants to give flat out immunity to every police officer who has killed too many innocent persons to count. But they're not having that conversation right now. That's not part of the conversation because it doesn't fit their agenda. So they have to make sure they leave it out of the conversation. They just want you to focus on these little symbolic things that they can point out that should convince you that you can trust Trump. They just want you to focus on those few things. They don't want you to focus on all the other things that harm your life day to day. They just want you to focus on the things that give you a feel good feeling. Just don't you dare try to focus on anything that is going to harm your life. Just don't you do that. Your job is to listen to me manipulate you and play you for a fool, and just let me point out to you what specific things you need to focus on that will give you a feel good feeling. But it's dishonesty. That's what it is. It's manipulation and dishonesty. Here we go.
And I appreciate the input. I bring this up in earnest because I try to talk to the niggas I'm around, right? And for example, you try talking about voting.
This is the person who cannot seem to stop using the word nigger. And this is the one who is a teacher. His name is Mr. Cummins. I did not catch what school he is currently a teacher at, but it's It's really shameful that this person feels so comfortable referring to persons who he want to convince to vote, that he don't respect them enough to just refer to them as a equal human being like himself. No, that would be asking too much. He much prefer to refer to those persons as niggers because they are beneath him. They don't deserve to be respected as a human being and referred to as a human being. No, they must be referred to as a nigger the same way white people see them. I must use the same language that my enemy used to attack myself and my community. So when I go talk to my people, I'm going to address them as niggers. In my eyes, I see them as a nigger. I don't see them as a human being. This is Mr. Cummins.
A Crip, right? And the Crips like, man, fuck all that shit, bro. You know what Crips stand for, homie? Community resistance and progress, nigga. My community resistant, nigga. Fuck all that shit, nigga. I ain't voting for none of y'all. You see what I'm saying? So that's how it goes, and it gets to a standstill because of I'm gonna be honest. I don't know Crip culture. You feel me? So because of that gap in my knowledge of their culture and their knowledge of mine, it's hard for us to come together and, like I said before, get on the common accord and list what is in our common interest. You feel me? So that's why I posed the question, because I have an issue with it myself in daily conversation.
Well, comments, I'll hit it up to some folks I even play with just on Call of Duty Online, and just some real hood niggas. I'll be like, hey man, you American Negro? And they be like, oh yeah, my family's straight from the South. And I'm like, okay, let me check you out. I said, who you voting for, man? And then they be adamant as fuck to say it at first, but then it was like.
And as I have mentioned on my previous audio, I don't know who gave these persons the green light, and these are intelligent persons who consider themselves very intelligent human beings that will tell the Negro community or the melanated community to commit suicide by telling your enemy and your opposition who you plan to vote for. Why would any person be running around announcing that and shouting it to the top of your lungs? If you want to have private conversations and keep it without other persons knowing what your intentions are, that's one thing. But to intentionally go out and announce to your enemy and your opposition who has mistreated you for over 400 years that you are looking forward to voting for them, that is nothing short of suicide. And I don't know who came up with that decision to do that, but that is certainly suicide. And these persons in this Twitter space that you're listening to seem to be quite proud of that. They seem to be quite proud of letting their enemy and their opposition know that they look forward to voting for them without getting anything in return, but just a promise and a hope that these persons would do something to make things better in their life. They don't have anything guaranteed or anything close to guaranteed, but they are so overly joyed to look forward to voting for their enemy and their opposition that they can't wait to tell them every chance they get. So that comes down to volunteer suicide mission. Thank you kindly.
No, I usually was voting Democrat before, I voted for Obama the first time, but he said, I think I'm going to go with Trump, man. To be honest, it just make more sense, man. I can't vote for Joe Biden. I'll be like, oh, yeah, me too, man. And then they open up and feel relaxed, because at first it's like pulling teeth. But if you actually ask them, a lot of them actually are up to date on it. And the one I was talking to at the time was a 28-year-old. So it ain't necessarily that they got to be 30s or something like that. The mid-20s, you can talk to them. And a lot of them, if you get into a real
I want each of you who will have a chance to listen to this audio that you constantly remind yourself this is simply about the Negro community and the melanated brown community not having the kind of money like Bank of America, JP Morgan, Chase Bank, and Wells Fargo. This is not about trying to pick the best choice between two evils. No, it's simply asking yourself an honest question. Do you have, or do the community that you come from have the money, the kind of money that Bank of America and JP Morgan and Wells Fargo and Chase Bank have as a collective community? Do they have the kind of money that these four banks have alone? If you answer that question no, then you should be able to come to your own conclusion that your vote do not count, because Bank of America, JP Morgan, and these corporations own each one of these politicians from the local, state, and federal level. They own each one of them. They simply need the citizens to go vote so that they can tilt the balance in a favor and get themselves into election. But after they get your vote, they don't need to care about whether you live or die in the next 365 days, because they simply needed your vote to get over the finish line. But they don't care about your day-to-day well-being and whether you have food on the table and a roof over your head and a job and a fair opportunity in life. They don't care about those important things that matter to you. They simply care that they get you to the polls and you cast that vote. And whatever amount of time it takes for you to cast that vote, that is the length of time that your life matters to them. If it takes you 20 minutes or 30 minutes to complete your voting, that's the length of time that you matter to these politicians. The politicians are brought and paid for by the big banks and corporations. And nobody with any type of common sense or intelligence can deny that. They know clearly that is the case, that it has been the case since the voting political system came into existence. It's always been controlled and manipulated by money. It's always been that way, and no one seems to want to have the backbone to try to change that. But here we go.
Comfortable move with them, they'll tell you they voting for Trump. It might come out like begrudgingly at first, and they be like, "Yeah, I think I'm gonna go for Trump." And you tell them, "Oh man, I am voting for Trump." I don't think so. I am. Like fuck Joe. Like, and then they'll be like, "Oh okay, yeah, man, I fuck with you." And then you'll build like that. So it ain't as taboo as it might seem or appear on face value.
Yeah, I get that. It's much more like a lot of us are closeted Trump supporters, but the strength Trump shows, you know what I mean, a lot of us fuck with. You feel me? We're the only country to drop atomic bombs, so we don't need a president that's gonna seem like they're scared to press the button again. You know what I mean? Reportedly, Harry Truman, who was the vice president, Harry Truman slept soundly. He only took 10 minutes to decide. Like, yep, drop them bitches. You feel me? Because that's at a point, that's what needs to happen. You know, we have to display our force, and I don't feel like that display of force is going to happen with fucking hope.
Well, this person, I'm retired military. This person don't seem to have any problem with a president dropping an atomic bomb. I don't hear him mentioning anything about volunteering to serve in the military at any time. It's so easy for persons who don't put on a military uniform to stick their chests out about America having this power position where they don't hesitate to drop bombs and go to war with other countries. It's easy for those persons who don't care about putting on a uniform to say those words. It's a lot harder for those persons who have volunteered to go into the military, to think about going to other countries, to fight in other countries, and to make the sacrifice to leave their family so many times and be away from their family at long periods of time. It's a lot harder. But this person that you're listening to, Mr. Cummings, says it very easily. And I am willing to bet my life on it that he never served one day in the military. But he's quite happy to know that he wants to have a president who won't hesitate to drop a bomb. And this is the person who is going around and convincing other persons that they should vote. This is self-serving, self-egotistic, self-serving human being who has no respect for others who he don't feel measures up to his level in intelligence. He don't, if he make his evaluation that you do not measure up to his level of intelligence, you are beneath him. Here we go. And Mr. Deshaun is getting ready to start talking. I can see his face on a phone screen. So a new voice is getting ready to chime in.
You feel me? So,
And see, love, that's what you gotta understand too. So even on my show, I had the Don of the Four Corner Hustlers on my show. He's also a founder of, or he's the founder of the PD Vice Lords. So you know, in Chicago, we don't have Crips or Bloods. That's not us. We got Vice Lords, Foes, GDs, BDs, Stones, just very Chicago gangs. And so the Vice Lord Nation is the Mighty Vice Lord Nation is one of the biggest gangs in America, and then the Four Corner Hustlers are an offshoot of them. So I had this man who's a very high-ranking official in this organization on my show twice. And we talked about this and how do we get these young boys to understand, it's time to get on what they got to get on. And that's how we came up with the whole thing of, like one guy told me, as long as it's crackheads, I'm selling crack. That's what I know how to do. And I ain't here to tell you about your job prospects, baby. Get it how you live.
perfect.
But hold on.
Perfect that you
But if
said
that's what
that.
you're doing, wait a minute. But if that's what you're doing, and that is your, that's how you make your money, okay, honey? If that's how you chose to live and make a living in the United States of America, then guess what? They bringing in new people to take your job. So they're not just taking the factory jobs, they taking the drug dealing jobs too, my love. So you need to go ahead and sign this form right here so you can register to vote. Damn, shorty, I ain't think about it like that. I know, because ain't nobody come to tell you but me.
That you are listening to a lady's voice there. Her Twitter ID is black let me see, Chicago's for Trump. That's what her name was. I was trying my hard to remember. The person you was just listening to was a lady's voice, and she was bragging about bringing a high level position, a warlord on her show, and they was having a conversation exchange, and she goes by the name Black Chicago for Trump. So this lady is so proud of running around convincing persons to vote for Trump that she literally have Trump in her name, her Twitter name. Black Chicago for like the number 4, Trump. That is her Twitter name on Twitter. Black Chicago for Trump. I'm going to start the audio up. It should be very close to the end of the first hour.
is why I
Right,
really
and
appreciate Donald Trump. Hold on, I'm gonna let you get back to it. This is why I truly appreciate Donald John Trump Sr. for having those young black leadership summits in 2018, 19, and 20. He brought young